What's going on, guys? It's Troydan here. And today, we've got NBA players whose careers were ruined by their girlfriends. All I can think of is that Humphries dude, Chris Humphries. Yeah, that's definitely going to be a guy on this list. I haven't seen it, but yeah, definitely some Kardashians will appear. 3, 2, 1, go.
Some players see their decline based on several factors, such as age or a new team or a change of
Tristan
system
Thompson,
that
that's a
didn't
good
fit their style of play. For others, unfortunately, the sources of their demise and misfortune was none other than the supposed love of their lives. These basketball players got to realize that, well, maybe love is not always a fairy tale after all. In today's countdown, we'll take a look at some of your favorite NBA players who have been through the worst of times, both personally and professionally because of a rocky relationship with their girlfriend or wife. Before we get started, though, do you want to win a PS5 with NBA 2K21 and Madden NFL 21?
No.
Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway.
I'll do that,
Nash's
but
relationship with his ex-wife was so messed up that we couldn't help but put it here. Steve Nash is one of the most popular and prominent names in NBA history. The Canadian-born former NBA player was a 2-time MVP and 8-time All-Star point guard who guided some of the most dynamic offenses in NBA history. Nash is remembered by many who watched his game as one of the most unselfish and creative floor generals of all time.
Facts.
A 6'3" wizard who tormented defense with his excellent shooting touch, superb vision, and a futuristic understanding of positioning and angles.
Do you still think Steve Nash is the best point guard in the game?
I think Steve Nash in flip-flops with one hand tied behind his back is the best point guard in the NBA.
In 2005, Nash became the first Canadian to win the NBA's Most Valuable Player award and then repeated the same feat the following year, becoming one of the 13 players to have won multiple MVP awards, joining the likes of Tim Duncan, Bob Pettit, and Karl Malone. During his 2005 MVP campaign, Nash led the league in terms of assists with 11.5 per game and 861 total. That was 193 more than second-place Stephon Marbury. However, while Steve was making waves in the NBA, dropping assists and writing his name as one of the NBA greats, things were not so great at home. It all began when Nash met with Paraguayan filmmaker Alejandra Almeria in Manhattan while he was playing for the Dallas Mavericks. The two shortly began dating, and 3 years later, they welcomed twin daughters Lola and Bella.
I thought Steve was gay. No, like, what?
A year after the birth of their daughters, the couple got married and seemed to be living a fairy tale romance. It seemed that nothing could add to their happiness until the couple announced that they would be expecting baby number 3. But then, everything turned around after Nash announced an impending divorce, just a day after his wife had given birth to their third child.
What a twist!
Nash released a statement saying, "I'm very thankful and excited that we have a new son, Mateo Nash. Alejandra and the baby are doing fine,
after
but
she
this is a
spit out the
bittersweet moment
kid!
for my wife and I. After 5 years, we are now in the process of dissolving our marriage."
Steve, you're a
According to the
savage!
basketball player, it hadn't been all roses for both of them and they had been living apart before the birth of the third child. But Nash didn't reveal it all. Shortly after he announced his impending divorce, rumors began to fly around that their third child, Mateo, wasn't in fact Nash's, and she had been cheating on him with one of Nash's teammates.
Better not be Jason!
The divorce became a highly publicized event, and that's not surprising because Steve Nash at the time was regarded amongst the most sought-after and recognized NBA stars. But the twist didn't end there. Almeria admitted that Nash had cheated on her years prior. Although Nash has not spoken publicly about this accusation, he was reportedly cheating on his wife with a 22-year-old singer, Nelly Furtado, who name-checked the basketball player in her hit song, Promiscuous, singing, "Is that the truth? Are you talking trash? Or is your game MVP like Steve Nash?" After learning about the affair, it's believed that Almeria slept with Nash's teammate and gave birth to his child as a way of getting back at Nash for cheating on her. Many sources believe that Jason Richardson was the father of the couple's third child and not, in fact, Nash. There are claims that the child was black, and since Steve was Caucasian and Alejandra was of Hispanic heritage, the possibility of both of them conceiving an African-American son to—
What? Wait! 2 white people? And you think Steve, she cheated! Go on, Jerry! I've never heard of this before!
together is virtually impossible. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Just a few months before the birth of Mateo, Richardson was quickly traded to the Orlando Magic in December. We believe that Nash learned of the affair and made it known to the team, and that's why Jason was traded off. After the divorce in 2011, things didn't exactly get great for Nash. He was plagued with injuries and couldn't quite attain the heights that saw him become a 2-time MVP winner before finally retiring in 2015.
Okay, yeah.
Why is Slappy here? Ew, what am I watching? What is
Damn, man.
I don't kids.
Peeking.
Proactive insights at 54th.
When you're best known for an academic fraud investigation and dating Khloe Kardashian, then you know how bad one's basketball career
she
has
was
gone.
bad.
In 2002, Scouts.com ranked Rashad McCants as the #1 high school basketball player in the country. Many people believed he was going to have a decent career in the NBA and maybe even go on to do great things because he had the talent to do everything on the court and become a powerful shooting guard in the league. Like most basketball stars, Rashad began his career in high school, Clyde A. Irwin High School in North Carolina. But he would end up finishing at New Hampton School, where he led New Hampton to the 2002 New England Prep School Class A championship
vandalism
and was
over
named
there.
MVP of the title game. He won the Player of the Year award in 2001 and 2002 while in school, and a few years later, Rashad was drafted as the number 14 overall pick into the NBA to continue what many believe would be a successful career. In his first season, it began to look like he was going to be another player who had a lot of potential, but couldn't get running in the NBA. During his second season, things got worse from there as he suffered a major injury which saw him miss a significant half of the whole season. However, in his third season, Rashad bounced back again to produce significant numbers. He was producing career-high numbers and showing off those lethal three-pointers that he was known for in high school. It appeared that he was finally getting back on track, and the only way from there was up. However, that didn't last long because in the summer of 2008, Rashad began to date Khloe Kardashian.
As an athlete, I want to thank you
Yo.
for your bravery. And as a human, I want to thank you for the doors you've opened. And on behalf of the entire NBA and half of the rappers on the Billboard charts, I want to thank you for giving your daughters their daddy issues.
The former NBA player was set up by Reggie
Is
Bush.
Blake I just spit everywhere. Is Blake canceled? How did he survive that? What?
His relationship with Khloe was the first relationship between an NBA player and a Kardashian, and because of that, it was highly publicized and soon it consumed Rashad's identity.
I don't
Khloe
even
and
know who
Rashad
this guy
dated for
is.
7 months, and coincidentally, 7 months later, Rashad would play his last NBA game and retire. He and Khloe called it off in late January of 2009, shortly before McCants was traded from the Timberwolves to the Kings. He was not re-signed by Sacramento after the season and failed to get himself into another team. Rashad had spent just 4 seasons in the NBA, and it was over just like that.
All 'cause he
Rashad
got some
claims that other
poo-tang.
NBA teams were turned off because of his relationship with Khloe and didn't want to have anything to do with him. During an interview in 2017, Rashad said that his biggest regret was dating Khloe. He also
Jeez,
claimed that his
man.
highly publicized relationship with the reality TV
That's
star
terrible.
made people and teams doubt his commitment to the NBA. Without that situation in play, I'm a 60 to 70 million player, easily. Well, we don't know about that, McCants. McCants bounced around the D-League and several international leagues, going from Puerto Rico to China to the Philippines to France and other countries before finally hanging it up in 2015. It's definitely sad to watch, as there were less talented people than Rashad who carved out a nice basketball career in the National Basketball Association. In early 2014, rumors began to spread that Chandler Parsons was dating Kendall Jenner. After it became confirmed that they were indeed dating, the relationship would last to 2016. Well, around the time that the two began dating, Parsons was having the best season of his career with the Houston Rockets, and his 2013-14 season is still his best season to date, because Chandler never matched the heights of that season again. In his 2013-14 season, Chandler averaged career highs of rebounds, points, assists, and his overall game went up a notch. This form would see the Mavericks reward Chandler with a $46 million contract for 3 years.
Okay.
The Rockets decided they couldn't match the offer Dallas Mavericks were offering him, and Parsons left on a free. Although Parsons did end up joining the Mavericks, he was never able to replicate that form. A mixed run of injuries and troubles with his knees, as well as surgeries, saw him miss a series of games, and he could never replicate that form. After his stint with the Mavericks, Parsons would sign a ridiculous 4-year contract worth $94 million with Memphis Grizzlies. But it was here Parsons' career suffered a massive downturn. His injury woes continued to tear him apart, ruining what was supposed to be a terrific career. Is it a coincidence that all this happened while he was with Kendall and
No,
subsequently
it's
after
not.
they broke up? Well, we'll let you decide.
It's not. It's true.
For someone with a wicked beard, it seems that James Harden is definitely no wise old sage when it comes to women. Harden was the 3rd overall pick in the NBA draft when he was starting up his career as a professional NBA player. However, his 2009 season was underwhelming, and that's us being fair. At this time, Harden was already dating a hard-nosed rapper, Trina, who he would later dump via
Trina.
text message in 2012. In 2015, Harden had become the main man for the Houston Rockets, and he was dropping a career-high number of points and assists at the time. And the man
Ankles.
even took his team as far as the Western Conference Finals that year. Harden was making such waves and performing his iconic celebration that you couldn't help but notice the man with the wicked beard dictating the game wickedly. The following season was supposed to be the moment for Harden to win that NBA championship that had continued to avoid him, but as luck would have it, he met Khloe Kardashian.
Oh,
and
no.
we know
Wait,
how
he's
the
still
story
good, though.
goes when you meet a Kardashian. Are we the only ones that think that maybe there's a curse with NBA players?
Wait. Out of all the people that have put their ding-dong in a Kardashian, I'm pretty sure, I'm confident saying this, that James Harden is by far the best. He's still good. He still is.
The Kardashians? His meeting the reality star would cast a heavy shadow over Harden's game, and the Rockets would end up with a disappointing 27-28 record. During his time with Khloe, Harden was committing a career-worst 4.5 turnovers a game and shooting just 42.7% from the floor, his worst mark since his rookie season.
Thanks, James. that look says it all.
Tristan Thompson had just signed a deal with Cleveland Cavaliers in October of 2015 worth over $82 million. And 8 months later, the Cavs won their first ever championship with Thompson playing one of the leading roles in writing a new chapter of history in the NBA. During this time, Thompson had one of the best seasons of his career, if not the best ever. But around August 2016, just 2 months after winning the championship, Thompson was pictured walking out of a nightclub with Khloe Kardashian.
Dude, it's her!
Don't these people learn? Didn't you just see what
devil.
happened with Harden just over a year ago? Just after Thompson and Khloe were pictured together, Thompson's career, as you might have guessed by now, wasn't the same.
To be fair, his career was never that good. Let's be honest.
Following year in the 2017 finals, Thompson was so bad that despite being popular for his rebound prowess, he got out-rebounded by Steph Curry, who made sure Thompson got to know about it. His form did not get any better because the following year in 2018, the same thing would happen again. The only difference this time was that Thompson was awful all through the game. Like, really awful. Everything from his minutes to his numbers all dropped to alarming numbers.
Be lazy.
And when he did
Look,
play, he was a shadow of his
play?
former self.
What
He
was
went from
that?
being one of the best rebounders in the league to a complete joke.
Was
it
he,
also
though?
didn't help matters that Thompson had been caught cheating on Khloe while she was pregnant with their daughter.
No, that's
this led to him being
terrible.
booed by his own fans.
What a life, guys. What a life.
It's safe to say that the pressure that comes with dating a Kardashian, as well as Thompson's awful attitude, and the jeers from the fans all made it difficult for the man to replicate the old form that saw him become what many believed would become the X Factor against Curry's Warriors due to his ability to switch on to guards. Humphries' relationship with Kim Kardashian is probably one of the most famous and talked about relationships in the last 2 decades. The pair met, started dating, got married, and divorced all within the same year.
Dang.
It's pretty crazy, and exactly why we couldn't afford to miss this one or fail to share it with you guys. Rumors that the two were dating began to spread towards the end of 2010, and although Kim first denied dating the basketball player, it soon became public around the first or second month of 2011.
Yeesh,
At
what's
this
going
time,
on
Kim
here?
could not
It's a home
deny it any
video.
longer, and the pair celebrated Humphries' 26th
Wait, I've already seen
birthday
one of those
together.
today.
And by April, Humphries was already spending time on the Kardashian family vacations. The relationship between the two was highly publicized, and they appeared on numerous TV shows talking about their relationship. Around this time, Humphries was 7 seasons into his NBA career, and it was during this time that Humphries had his breakout season, registering career-high points, assists, and rebounds. However, his
Like
breakout
4 a
season
game.
went downhill just as quick. Humphries and Kim got married in August 2011 and divorced only 72 days
Dang,
later.
man. How does that
things happen
happen?
in life, and you got to move forward. So
How do you
I'm
make such
excited to be where I'm at.
a choice like that, Chris?
Right now with the NBA season coming up, and I'm ready to go.
Ray J
So-
was there
A year
first.
after
You
the
should have known.
divorce, Humphries' numbers in the NBA saw a significant drop. You could argue that it was partly because the Nets saw a huge change in their roster. This was the time they traded for Joe Johnson, so Humphries didn't get the ball as much as he used to. On the outside, it appeared as if Humphries and Kim were the perfect match. But it turns out there were some red flags prior to the wedding, with the biggest one being that the people around Kim didn't want her to go through with the wedding. Kim's mom even reportedly told Kim to go away before the wedding, told her that, "Why don't you go away, and I'll handle it."
She
There's
doesn't
also
have a
a
shirt
report
on.
that Khloe was not in support of the wedding, reportedly telling Kim, "I give the both of you 6 effing months." But Kim went ahead with it nonetheless because she thought people might think the whole thing was staged. But despite trying to make it work, it never did happen, and their 72-day-old marriage went down as the
72
shortest marriages
days,
ever
boys.
recorded between an NBA star and his spouse. However, the divorce from Kim took a significant toll on Humphries because he never bounced back in the NBA. After the divorce, Chris was mocked, booed, and
Maybe
jeered
you're
on
right.
the court.
I don't know if I've ever
Maybe there
seen
is
this.
something.
Whoa!
And he himself
Going on?
branded his marriage and divorce embarrassing and brutal. He said, "I should have known what I was getting
not
into.
reading that.
I was definitely naive about how much my life was going to change. There's definitely a lot about that world that was not entirely real, but our actual relationship was 100% real. When it was clear it wasn't working, what can I say? It sucked. It's never easy to go through the embarrassment of something like that with your friends and your family, but when it plays out so publicly, in front of the world, it's a whole other level."
At least you got paid, buddy, okay? You got
It was
paid for
brutal.
that.
Chris
Come
began
on.
to suffer from acute anxiety, especially in crowds. and
Anxiety
locked
with all
himself
that
away.
money?
Speaking about it, he said, "There was about a year when I was in a dark place. I didn't want to leave my room. You feel like the
have
whole world
to.
hates you, but they don't even know why. They don't even know you at all. They just recognize your face, and they're on you. I didn't want to be Chris Humphries. It's the craziest feeling in the world.
Don't pretend you're someone
Lamar and
else on
Khloe's
RuneScape.
relationship was mysterious and somewhat unusual. Lamar met the Kardashian sister
Oh,
in
no,
2009 and
not
officially
Lamar.
began dating in September. A month later, they were married. And if that's not unusual, I don't know what else would fit that bill. The relationship between the pair was highly publicized, and Lamar would go on to feature on a lot of the Kardashians' hit popular reality show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. As an outsider or fan watching the couple, nothing really seemed wrong. They didn't appear as the perfect couple, but the pair looked perfectly okay together. A couple there. It all began with a trade to the Dallas Mavericks where Lamar would experience the worst season in his career by far. Odom appeared to be struggling the entire season, and mentally he was just not there. The former two-time NBA champion didn't seem like he was enjoying his basketball, and
they tried to
struggled
train him
well during his practice sessions. Speaking about this, Lamar said, "When you have relationships with people and there are hard times, you know how to deal with one another. When you don't, it's obvious." There are many ways to interpret that, but one thing is for sure, and that's that he was not in the right state of mind. In 2013, Lamar would play his final NBA game, which is coincidentally the same year that Khloe filed for divorce. However, the divorce did not sit well for Lamar, and 2 years later, Lamar was found unconscious in a brothel. He had OD'd and was in a coma where the NBA star suffered 12 strokes and 2 heart attacks.
Yeesh.
During this time, Khloe did not leave his side and stayed until he recovered. After Lamar finally recovered, his NBA career was pretty much over. During an interview where Lamar spoke about just how bad things got for him, he said, "At that point in my life, I was doing coke every day. Pretty much every second of free time that I had, I was doing coke. I couldn't control it." Lamar's story is probably the most tragic one in recent history.
Okay, listen, Lamar Odom, they tried to trade him, and then old David Stern screwed that up. I'm still mad about that. That's when Chris Paul was supposed to come get Kobe another ring. I don't want to talk about that. But yeah, maybe there is something going on with these Kardashians. Like, we joke about it, but maybe there actually is something in there. Something deep down there that makes you play worse. I'll go find out. Guys, if you got a video you'd like me to watch or react to, you can tweet me at Troydan under the hashtag TroydanReacts. Thank you for watching, and kids, stay away from the Kardashians.